you for giving me this opportunity for this presentation. I'm going to give you a short overview of the development of Open Data Service of the Finnish Parliament. Next slide. At first, I will briefly introduce you background of the development of open data in Finland. Secondly, I will go over the development path of our open data service and take up some use cases of open data. And finally, I share you our vision for the development of open data service in a cloud environment. Concerning regulation, next slide. Concerning regulation, already the Finnish Constitution from 1999 supports our right of access to public documents and recordings. Next slide. EU directives since 2003 have underlined production of open data to support reuse of public sector information. Directives have been further implemented in the national legislation in Finland. Next slide. In addition, several government policies linked to government programs since 2011 have supported and accelerated production of open data of public sector institutions. Next slide. Already 2011, government program underlined openness of public information in the form of open data. Next slide. 4 years later, government policy defined production of open data as a goal by 2020. This goal concerned all significant public information resources. Next slide. These goals of Finnish open data policies have succeeded quite well. As National Open Data Catalog, avoindata.fi indicates, there are over 770 organizations producing and sharing open data at the moment, and more than 90 open data applications are in use. Avoindata.fi portal is maintained by Digital and Population Data Services Agency. Next slide. Let's move on to our production of open data. Next slide. It began 2011 by a pilot project studying users' needs and requirements for open data. At 2016, a project was launched to develop a product version of Open Data Service. The content of the service was extended in several phases, and different types of contents were linked to the service on different formats. As a result, the user interface of the service became somewhat fragmented. This means that usability of data is one of our main development goals in the near future. Next slide. The content of the service covers at present about 90% of all data on our public website. The challenging part is that these data are available in varying data formats. Also, the older parliamentary documents are only available in PDF format, which is not really fulfilling the requirement of machine readability of open data. Next slide. As I mentioned, approaches to access and load data vary according to the document type. Current parliamentary documents and voting data are only available via API, which requires, practically speaking, coding experience. So there is no easy access to these data. User-friendlier options are available for older digitized parliamentary documents, which are on PDF format, and there is separate search and load functionality for them. In the future, we hope to improve load options by allowing loading of search results in the context of browsing search results. This kind of contextual functionality would be most user-friendly option to open data. It doesn't seem realistic at this point to expect that our users could use APIs only. Next slide. Also, there are certainly different user groups for open data, including citizens. If loading and use of data requires coding experience, use of the service would be limited on data professionals, experts, and parliament staff with coding skills. So we need to provide open data in easier form if we would like to extend use of open data. But there are also several applications which have utilized our open data. YLE, next slide. YLE, National Broadcasting Company, has developed a bot enabling follow-up of activities of members of parliament on a monthly basis. YLE provides a monthly newsletter covering MPs' activity on parliamentary sessions and committee meetings and their speeches. In addition, the service provides information on MPs' current media visibility and stand on topical political issues. This information is gathered by questionnaire. In general, media would have an interest to use voting data in real time. Right now, updating cycle of open data is on a daily basis in our service, and we understand we need to need improvement to this in the future. Next slide. Lakitutka Legal Radar is a portal created by research project of Turku University. Lakitutka aims to cover preparatory and parliamentary documents related to legislative process. The portal provides versatile and user-friendly search application and enables visualization of search results by timeline. The added value of this portal is in its broader coverage, in which all types of documents within legislative process are included. Next slide. Parliament Sampo is a portal developed in a joint research project between Aalto University, University of Helsinki, University of Turku, Center for Parliamentary Studies, and this project is called Semantic Parliament Consortium Research Project. The project applied semantic computing technologies and developed a linked open data infrastructure using open data from Parliamentary of Finland on a basis. Data was enriched using Wikidata and biographical data from other portals the project has created, and data was further interlinked to ontology of actors, organizations, and events. Due to limited time of my presentation, I recommend you to turn to the web pages of this project to get further information if you are interested in the approach. Basically, Parliament Sampo portal gives versatile search options on speeches of members of parliament and allows visualization of search results by time period, by location and political party. This portal certainly adds value on parliamentary data by allowing users several user-friendly search options and supportive visualization to view search results. Next slide. Next slide. So where we are at present. Next slide. If we benchmark our development status to the other parliaments, we have proceeded quite well. Implementation of open data is still in early phase as a concept in parliaments. At 2016, there were 16 parliaments sharing open data according to the IPU study. At 2022, the number of parliament was doubled, but it doesn't tell the whole picture since only 43 parliaments responded to IPU study. Next slide. Indeed, about 74 of the parliaments which answered to the study produced open data. However, we can make a conclusion that there is a growing interest in open data at present. Next slide. To conclude, let's review our future development plans. Further development of our service includes improved usability, which is one of our main goals on a new user interface and API. In addition, we need to provide real-time access on voting data and extend the coverage of the content to parliamentary documents between 2001 and 2014. Next slide. Also, our future plans include an architectural change and closer integration of open data into the other Parliament Internet services. These changes are well on their way since we have a broader renewal project of the Parliament Internet services going on until 2026. Our future technical architecture for our public internet services includes including open data, is based on Amazon Cloud Service, AWS. As you can see, according to the preliminary plan, raw data from the Parliament databases would be gathered on a data hub on a cloud service, and public network services of the Parliament will be built on that basis, as well as integrations to other uses utilizing APIs. This architecture may anyhow become refined in certain extent within the proceeding of the project. Next slide. You will find our open data service on an address avoindata.eduskunta.fi. Also, there is a link to open data service Avoin Data on the main page of the Parliament website.